And then the next question you may ask is, how do false confessions occur? How can somebody possibly admit to something they didn't do? And that is kind of a complicated issue. There are several ways it can happen. You may have somebody with mental instability or disability who doesn't really understand what they're saying. But more interesting to us is the incident of police or other questioners contaminating an interrogation and basically leading somebody to confess falsely. So what is contamination? Contamination occurs when police or other questioners introduce information into the questioning that the suspect isn't aware of. So for example, I'm questioning someone who didn't actually commit a crime, and while I'm questioning, I'm giving them information. Well, were you there and you were wearing blue pants? Okay, so you were wearing blue pants and she was wearing what, a red dress? Well, no one else knew she was wearing a red dress, but I just told you that. So now you know. But later on, it's going to look like you knew that all along, not I told you. This is how it happens. So this contamination of the interrogation is one, and just the drive that a lot of police officers and other law enforcement officials have to get a suspect, to find someone who committed the crime, and to get a confession. We are very focused as a society on confessions. Historically, they have been very prioritized in court cases. In fact, in some false confession cases, DNA evidence has contradicted the confession, but yet the person is still convicted. And that really tells us that the confession holds so much weight that even the DNA evidence is basically ignored. So I think a lot of defense attorneys around the country are pretty interested in this phenomenon, and they'll be looking out for it, which leads us to really the last step of this. What are people doing to prevent this from happening in the future? And the answer really is focusing on how interrogations are conducted and also how confessions are viewed in court. So for example, a lot of police departments are now recording confessions, recording interrogations, and of course videotape is the best way to do that. So you can go through and you can see exactly what was said, what did the police say, what did the suspect say, were interrogation conditions appropriate, etc. And that assists greatly in determining whether the confession is valid, whether there was contamination, etc.